Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Our Stony Acres. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about things that you can be planting indoors in March if your last frost date is in May. Okay, so these are indoors under lights in March if that last frost date is in May. Before we get started, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so you get notice every time I release new videos. And please go over and follow us on Instagram. I'd love to have you over there with us as well. Make sure you stick around too, because I'm going to tell you about a fun challenge that we have coming up at the end of this video. Okay, so let's get started. Now, again, we're going to be talking about March seedlings that we can be planting indoors that will be transplanted out in, later in the season if our last frost date is in May. Okay, so I recognize that frost dates don't directly correlate with garden zones, but this video is kind of going to be for those of you that are probably zones 5, 6, and 7, maybe even a little bit of zone 4. Your frost dates are probably going to be landing somewhere in that May time frame. So that's kind of who we're talking to today. So, but zones, not as important as your frost date. So I need you to figure out when that frost date is. I've included some links down in the description that can help you, but the best way to find out is to see if you can find your local agricultural extension agency. They should have a published list, and that's usually probably the most reliable method for determining what your average last frost date is, okay? So let's talk about some cool season crops that we can still be planting in March, and then we're also going to be looking at some warm season crops and some flowers that we can be planting during the month of March, okay? So first off, cool season plants. We want to be getting these out in the garden 4 to 6 weeks before that last frost date. So that means you need to hurry and get those guys planted indoors if you want to still be able to transplant them out. But you do still have some time, so you can be starting things like broccoli, cabbage, kohlrabi, cauliflower, kale, collards, lettuce, arugula, spinach, Swiss chard, celery, even peas can be started indoors now in March and then transplanted out later into the garden as the weather kind of breaks and starts to warm up. So all of those cool season crops, again, target, you want to be, about 4 weeks before that last frost. 6 to 4 weeks before is when you're going to be putting those out. So you still have some time in March to get those planted so that they're ready to go out when the weather warms up a bit, okay? Now let's talk about some warm season crops. So warm season crops have to be planted after your last frost date. So we're going to be targeting getting these guys started indoors about 6 to 8 weeks before that last frost date. So let's use my date for an example. May 15th is our last frost date. So I'm going to be starting these warm season crops about March 15th is when I'm going to get those started indoors under lights, okay? So this would be things like tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and even beans could be started indoors. Now, people are going to ask me, what about squash family? It's a little bit too soon for the squash family. So squash family really only needs about 3 or 4 weeks indoors. So you're going to wait and plant those probably in April. So again, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, beans, all of those need about 8 weeks indoors. You want to target it, make it work so that they're really only indoors for about 8 weeks. That's kind of the top end of how long they should be indoors, okay? Also, there are some herbs that you can be planting. Any of your warm season annual herbs, so things like basil or parsley or cilantro or oregano, anything like that, you can be planting those now in March as well, again, to be set out later when the frost threat is gone, okay? All right, and then last thing I wanted to talk about, because I've had people ask me about this over the last few videos that I've done, is some flowers. So March is the time for you to get started on nearly all of your annual frost-sensitive flowers, okay? So anything that's frost-sensitive and is an annual, March is when you're going to want to be starting those. So the list is actually too long. I mean, there's literally hundreds of different varieties, but some of the more common varieties would be things like petunias, marigolds, zinnias, cosmos, impatiens, morning glory, nasturtium, sunflowers, any of those annual frost-sensitive flowers. You're going to start those about 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost date, And that means you're going to be planting them indoors and putting them under lights now in March so that you're ready to set them out in May, okay? So there you go. Now remember, it's that frost date that's the most important. Target that, 8 weeks before for all of those warm season crops so that you get that timing correctly, okay? All right, so that's all I have for you for this week, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that notification bell so you get noticed every time I release new videos. Also, please go follow us over on Instagram. We've got a good following going over there. We're about to break 2,000, and so I'd love to have you come and join us there as well. One other thing that I did want to talk about really quickly is a fun challenge that we have coming up this spring. Last year in May, we did a Get Your Garden Planted challenge. So the point or the idea behind this challenge is to get your tail in gear and get you out and planting your garden. And so we did it in May last year, and we had about almost 400 people that joined, and it was really popular. Lots of people liked it, but there were a lot of people that said, oh, that was a little bit too late for me. So this year, we want to do it so that everybody gets an opportunity to participate. So we're actually going to run this challenge, this 5-day Get Your Garden Planted challenge, 3 different times this spring. So we're going to do it in March, late March, mid-April, and mid-May. Hopefully that will cover pretty much everybody and give you an opportunity to kind of get kick-started on your garden. So how does this challenge work? So what we're going to do is over the course of 5 days, we'll have some videos for you. So every day we'll have a new video. They'll be about 20 to 25 minutes long. I'll teach you a concept that will help you to get your garden started. And then there'll be some homework for you to do. There'll be a really nice workbook for you to go through as well. And then by the end of the challenge, you'll be ready to get your garden planted. And we'll have a Facebook group, so there's some accountability. The homework, you have to do the homework in order to be eligible to enter the prize drawing at the end. And so the whole idea is to get your tail in gear and get that garden planted this year, okay? We're going to do our very best to keep the cost low. Right now, we're thinking it's probably going to be priced at about $15. We do spend a lot of time on these challenges, so we do have to charge for them. We're thinking about $15. There'll be a Q&A session at the end. So we'll do a live Q&A call where you guys can come in and ask me questions. We'll also have prizes, a prize drawing at the end as well. We're starting the wait list today on this challenge. And so I need you to go over. You can either click the link that's down in the description of the video, or there'll be a link right up here that you can click as well. That will take you over to our website, and then you can sign up for the wait list. And there'll be 3 different options for you: a March, April, and a May. So put your name in on that particular, whichever one you want to join, and that will let us know that you're interested. I will send you more information out as the challenge gets closer, and then you can come and join and get your tail in gear and get that garden planted this year, okay? All right, so we're super excited about this, so please go and sign up. All right. That's all I have for you this week, my friends. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week. By the way, next week we're going to be talking about seeds that you can actually be planting physically in your garden in March. So this will be a fun video for you as well. So make sure you check back for that one. Okay, happy gardening, guys.